Hi, let's continue our discussion on synchronization. We did some motivation to look at certain applications of why we need synchronization. For example, we looked at the shortest paths, etc. And then we said that there are multiple ways in which synchronization can be done, although we are going to look at a few of them. For example, you might be able to synchronize across threads using only the control flow and data flow. Then there could be other primitives which might be supported by your parallelization library or language, such as atomics and barriers, using which also you will be able to synchronize. There could be others. For example, you can think about locks and so on. However, it's not that we will be using only one of them. It's possible that if you combine these, you will be able to reduce the synchronization cost appropriately. And those are also the points that we should be thinking about while we are dealing with coordinating across threads. So we'll look at these separately, but while designing a parallel algorithm or while implementing a parallel algorithm, you should look at the cost involved in each of these, and depending upon the situation, you might be wanting to combine these in different ways. So let's go back to our example of using flag to coordinate across two threads. That particular example allowed us to synchronize across two threads, and we ensured that there is mutual exclusion. But there was still some problem with that code. For example, one thread was possibly going into an infinite loop, right? So we definitely not want that. And we would like to have the two threads executing, let's say, S1 in thread 1 and S2 in thread 2. Both of these threads should be able to execute their statements S1 and S2 in mutually exclusive manner. Right? So given this requirement, I would like you to start designing a protocol or start designing using just control and data flow. Control flow meaning how the execution is happening in your program, right? So for example, if there could be some assignment statements, then there is an if condition, then accordingly the control reaches either the if part or the else part, but not both. Then the control goes to the next statement after the if else, and so on. So, and if there is a function call, it jumps to a particular, let's say, first instruction inside the function, and so on. So this is called as a control flow, the way execution happens. The data flow essentially means that how data is moving from one thread to the other. Yeah, I lost connection for a while suddenly. I hope I am audible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks, Venkat. Yes, good. Um, okay, so I want you to implement this mutual exclusion for two threads, and just post the code corresponding to that. Do not use any atomic or barrier in your code. It should simply be using the control flow and data flow. Okay, so any suggestions on how, let's say, thread 1 or thread 2 should be implementing this? What we had done earlier was that flag was initially assumed to be something, and then based on that, thread 2 would execute. One of them will probably wait for that flag to be of appropriate value. So flag equal to 0 or false means that, let's say, thread 2 is executing, and flag equal to 1 means, or true means, thread 1 is executing. Like that is what we had suggested. Okay, so if there are no suggestions, then I'll possibly move ahead. So let's say that
So,
initially we set flag to 0. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, so over here,
Shivansh,
but the
Karthik?
initial value of flag will have to be set by us itself, right? And we can just set it using an if and else for the two threads.
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can. We can.
But the initial value of flag will then impact the performance. So
Yes, it can impact the performance. It can impact correctness. That is correct. So, yeah, so here we will assume that we have control over how threads are writing. I mean, we are the ones who are creating the threads. We are the ones who are writing the complete program, and therefore we have control over how the different variables, that is, how the data flow is, as well as how the control flow is. So going over this particular code that I'm showing, let's assume for now that flag is false, right? And what I'm going to do is to have the thread to execute its statement, and then it sets flag to true, that is allowing the other thread to execute, which is possibly waiting on that flag to become true. And once it becomes true, then it starts executing S1. Right? So does this ensure mutual exclusion? Any suggestions? Okay, Vignesh says yes, Rigved says yes, Nivedita says yes. Can one of you argue why it ensures mutual exclusion?
Initially flag is false. So if let's suppose sir first T1 runs, so it will go into infinite loop. So when thread 2 gets its chance, then it will run S2, it will make flag equal to true, and then thread 1 run and it will print S1.
Okay.
But now let's suppose initially flag is equal to false, but T2 runs first. So it will print T2, it will make flag true, and then T1 runs and then it will execute S1. So in both the scenarios, first S2 execute, then S1.
Sure, good. So what Rigved was suggesting, I'll just put it in a slightly different way. If S1 has to execute, flag must be set to true. The reason being that while statement of thread 1 must precede the execution of S1 according to the sequential semantics of the thread or the program. Right? And for the thread to come out of this while loop, flag must be true. Right? It can get reset to 0 via some other means, but at least when thread 1 is checking, at that time it should see the value of flag to be 1 some point in time. The only place where it is getting set to true is this. And if this has to occur, then S2 must have been executed again according to the sequential semantics of thread 2. And therefore, there is a control flow dependence from S2 to flag equal to true. Then there is a data dependence from flag equal to true to while not of flag. So this is called as causality. So once you set flag equal to true from one thread, it is going to affect the other threads. And then again, there is a control flow from while to S1. So because of this chain, there is a guarantee that S2 and S1 are never going to get executed at the same time, and therefore there is mutual exclusion guarantee in this case. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay, so now the issue with this code, and similar to what we had earlier, is that only S2 is guaranteed to execute first, right? But it's possible that S1 might, I mean, T1 might be fast, and therefore, if it is fast, I would like, if it is ahead of T2, maybe it should execute S1. If T2 is running fast, then maybe it should execute S2. So it still has S1 and S2 as two statements to be executed, but those need not always be executed as S2 followed by S1. It can as well be executed as S1 followed by S2 or vice versa. So now can you modify this code to allow such a process? Please think about this, and if anybody has a solution, please paste in the chat box. Okay, Shagnik is suggesting that we can have an additional flag, which means that there are now two flags, one for T1, another for T2, or one for S1, another for S2. And using that, we might be able to let each one of them execute. Okay, this is a high level idea. Sure, it might work out. We'll have to see the code corresponding to it. Jaswant is suggesting while flag to be added to thread 2 and flag equal to false in thread 1. Okay, that seems to be reasonable. So we keep the structure of the two threads very similar, except that flag equal to true is done by thread 2, which is setting S1 to start execute, right, in thread 1. So after that is done, we can set flag equal to false in T1. And to make sure that thread 2 doesn't execute, we can have a wait loop while flag semicolon at the start of thread 2. That is just one suggestion. Okay, good. Suresh is suggesting flag equal to false. If ID equals 0 while flag S1 flag equal to 1. Yeah.
So the initial value of flag will change what will be executed first.
Yeah, the initial value could be arbitrary, and depending upon, oh, I see. Yeah, we won't be able to set the initial value of flag to arbitrary. In fact, we'll have to set it to arbitrary. Otherwise, exactly one order will be followed. Okay,
So
I understand.
we can set it to arbitrary by putting an if condition, right? If ID equal to 0, put flag equal to 1, else flag equal to 0. So whichever write happens latest, that effect can decide which thread goes ahead.
I'm not sure, but I'll have to think.
Yeah, maybe some race conditions might happen, like we have to be a little careful.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, but we can assume that flag is not set at all by us. It is taking some random value, in which case any one of them might execute. But if that happens, then there is no guarantee that whichever is ready, that thread is going to execute, right? Okay, so yeah, Suresh's code seems fine. Arihant is suggesting flag equal to 1, file flag wait, then S1. flag equal to, maybe you want to set it to flag equal to 1. Okay, okay, I understand. Okay, fine. Okay, so Aryanth has written slightly modified code which will allow you to, if you are the one who is ready, you will be able to, possibly you will not be able to execute actually until the other thread comes in. So this can actually get blocked because if thread 1 is fast, it will just set flag equal to 1, while flag it is going to wait. Thread 2 is not yet ready. When it comes, at that time it is going to set flag equal to 0, and then thread 1 will execute. So it will create some problem, I think. Yeah, but if they are executing with almost same speed, then this will work out. Okay. Any other suggestions? Okay. So let's see. I think as you can see, this is a very simple code, but that itself is taking some time for us. So I'm going to take your suggestion and I'm going to do this. Initially, the flag could be arbitrary, and then I have this symmetric code, very similar to what some of you have written. While flag, I'm going to wait, then I execute S2 and then flag equal to true, and the opposite code in thread 1. Right? And that is going to make sure that if initially it is false, then I'm going to come out of this loop. I'm going to execute S2 and then flag equal to true. If flag is true, then S1 gets the chance and so on. So at least that part is taken care of, that either of them might execute, right? So similar to some of you have written. But if some thread is fast and the other thread is, I mean, if flag is set to some arbitrary value, let's say it is set to false, and this thread comes, then I'm going to wait till thread 2 comes in. So it doesn't allow, I mean, essentially the execution of the two threads is decided by the initial value of flag. So that seems, I mean, it's solving one purpose, but it is not solving our complete purpose, right? So it's solving the purpose that whosoever is there, that thread should be allowed to go compared to our previous code. So that is happening, but it is still waiting for the other one depending upon the value of flag. Shira is asking, okay, like you said, I will then also one. Yes, yes, correct. That is correct. Right, so that part we have still not solved, and we would like to solve that. Right? Okay. So there were some assumptions which we made in this discussion, which are very natural, but we should still list those down explicitly, because when you try to write this code, you will face that trouble. So one assumption was that reading and writing of flag was atomic, which means that it's a single step process in the sense that we don't see anything intervening. So that is fine, and that is also supported by the hardware, so that is okay, but we should list that down. Then we also assumed somewhere that both the threads are executing their codes, right? So that means that when thread 1 is waiting for flag to become true, we are assuming that sometime flag is going to be set to true by thread 2, right? Assuming that initially it is false, or the other way around. So both the threads are actually executing their codes, and that is okay in some situations when you have both the threads or multiple threads going and executing their codes, but in some other situations that is not a good idea, because the working of a thread should be as independent as possible. So irrespective of what happens in the rest of the world, I should be able to execute my code, right? So that should be one of the ways in which we should be able to code up. So we would like to reach there. And the third more important aspect is that we also assume that flag is volatile, which means that if I'm making an update to a thread, to a variable, a shared variable, then that is going to be also available to the other thread. Right? If it so happens that flag equal to true happens in T2's cache, and while not of flag is reading the value from main memory, then this is going to be an infinite loop for T1. Alternatively, let's say flag equal to true actually gets reflected inside the main memory, but not of flag is being read from the cache of T1. Then also there is a possibility that thread 1 might hang, and vice versa. So we somewhere assume that flag is volatile, so that also should be remembered. All right. Any questions so far? We are going to develop this code further.
Sir,
Yeah, Venkat.
why did we give the first point reading and writing of flag is atomic? Like why are we assuming that?
The reason being that in this case, flag might be an 8-bit or 32-bit variable. And if flag equal to true is not atomic, then it's possible that you might see some value, which might be arbitrary, which the hardware might not give any guarantee of. And if that happens, then we might not see only 0 or non-zero value. I mean, of course, we will see 0 and non-zero value, but we might not see true or false value, or 0 and 1. We might see an arbitrary pattern. Right? In this case, it so happens that we have written flag to be this condition. Sorry. Yeah. In this case, we have written flag to be just while of flag, which makes sure that irrespective, I mean, any non-zero value is going to be allowed in this case. But if I change that to flag equals true, which is possibly set to 1, then it can cause an issue.
Yeah, so it is basically because of the race condition existing over here.
Yes. It is because of the race condition. So there is a reading in the while, and then there is writing in the other thread to the same flag. That's the reason. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Prasun is saying, I think solution will be similar to Peterson's solution, which we used in OS for mutual exclusion for 2 processes without using hardware resources. That's correct. So Prasun is 2 slides ahead of us. He's talking about some solution which ensures mutual exclusion, which we study in operating systems. So we are actually reaching there. And however, it's important, if I present Peterson's algorithm directly, it's going to be a little difficult for you to understand why we are doing it in this manner. Therefore, we are developing it step by step. Right? So that's correct, Prasun. All right, so let's look at that. Right. So what also helps is that this particular control and data flow processing that we have, it need not be implemented in this manner across threads whenever you want synchronization. It helps to develop some sort of an API, some abstraction of this continuous processing, while, flag, semicolon, right? That is a blocking call. So it helps to set up some sort of a lock and unlock processing so that it helps in our, let's say, understanding of the code, and we might be able to even automate that understanding. So that we will come to soon. So let's look at this lock and unlock. So we are going to implement that for 2 threads mutual exclusion, right? Okay. One important aspect as soon as we get into this is that it would be really ideal, since the way we write, for example, many times the CPU threading code, multi-threading code, as well as GPU kernel, we write code for all the threads together. We don't say that this code is for thread 1, this code is for thread 2, and so on, the way we had done on the previous slide. And therefore, we would like to have the same code do the processing for both the threads. So let it have a symmetric processing across threads as much as possible. At least the body of the code should be the same, which will be executed by different threads, in this case 2. But if you want some specific processing to be done for a particular thread, you can always have if thread ID equals 0, then do this, thread ID equals 1, then do something else, and so on. So that is okay. But we would like to have the same code available, right? So that is what we will also try in this process. So let's do that. So assume that now thread IDs are not 1 and 2, but these are 0 and 1. it will help us later when we generalize it. And the way I'm going to write the code is something like this. So there is lock and unlock. These are the two processing. And like some of you mentioned that I need to use a flag for both of these. So each thread is going to find out its thread ID, which could be 0 or 1, and that is me, that is local variable me. And I'm going to decide the other variable, that is the other thread is going to be 1 minus me. And what I'm going to do is to set flag of me equal to true. So this is very similar to what Arihant had suggested. I'm going to set my flag to true, and I'm going to wait while the other's flag is true. That means that the other thread is possibly executing the code. So I'm going to wait till that particular thread, the other thread, is going to set that flag to 0, which means that that thread has finished execution. How do I know? Using the unlock method. So that is my unlock, that the other thread will execute its code. So there is going to be lock statement I for that particular thread, followed by unlock. This is your critical section. Lock whatever are the statements in the critical section, let's say Si, which was S1 and S2 earlier. In this case, it is going to be S0 and S1, followed by unlock. That is going to be the code for each thread. So that unlock of the other thread, as soon as it happens, then I can go outside this lock and I start executing my SI, right? The critical section of this particular thread. And that is going to, and this while loop is going to ensure that this lock is blocking, which means that until I have the go from the other thread, I am not going to go ahead. Right? So now can you analyze this code and tell me if it serves the purpose of mutual exclusion for two threads?
Sir,
Yeah, Venkat.
the assumptions we had on the previous slide, don't they, like, the assumptions are same over here as well, right? What did we gain in this slide?
Yeah, I don't know if we have gained anything, but you have to tell me if we lost anything. So assumptions will be the same, that is correct, that let's say both the flags are volatile, then both the threads are executing, and there was, yeah, the right to the flag, individual flag is going to be atomic. So that we can assume, sure.
Sir, so like if both of them are true simultaneously, then both of will get stuck in a deadlock.
Okay. Is it possible that both of them will be true at the same time?
Like, so if thread 0 comes in, then it will set flag 0 equal to true, and when thread 1 comes in at the same time, it can do flag of me equal to true, right?
Yes, that is correct. So what Venkat as well as Shagnik as well as Rigved and Anish have mentioned are essentially the issues that are occurring in this. So okay, let's think about the positive case first. So does mutual exclusion happen? Which means that if I have lock, then S0 and S1 in the two threads, and then unlock. Does it happen that S0 and S1 execute at the same time? So that is unlikely to happen in this case, because I am always waiting for the other thread to give me a signal. Right? So the other thread is going to set its value to false either before lock or after unlock. The value of flag is going to be always set to true for the other thread while the critical section of that thread is going on. And therefore, we can argue that Si, that is S0 and S1, will never be executing at the same time. So the mutual exclusion is guaranteed. So that is a good thing. Unfortunately, this has caused another problem, which is what we were discussing, that thread 0, let's say thread 0 is executing these statements and it executes up to this point. So flag of 0 is set to true. At this stage, thread 1 comes in and it also does exactly the same processing. It also sets flag of 1 to true. As soon as this happens, right, now flag of other is the condition which each thread is checking. Flag of both of these is set to true at the same time, or I mean almost the same time, just before their while flag other is getting checked, and they both find that the other's flags are the same, I mean are true, and therefore they both are waiting for each other to set the flag to false. So this argument will allow us to see that they are actually waiting for each other, and therefore there is a deadlock possibility in this code. If these are executing arbitrarily and most of the times or almost all the times they are one after the other, then this code will work and you will not even see the deadlock for a good amount of time. But that is not guaranteed, so therefore there is a possibility of a deadlock. Okay? Okay, so mutual exclusion is guaranteed. We again assume the same things on the previous slide. May lead to a deadlock. There is, as I was mentioning, if one thread almost always follows the other, or these are not executing almost at the same time, then there is a guarantee that, not guarantee, but then most of the things are going to be same. Okay. So this also we have assumed. Okay, so we'll mark this as version 1, and now we are going to modify this according to what Anish is suggesting. That what we'll do is we'll set our flag. So the way we have done so far is that we set our flag to 1 and we are waiting for the other person's flag. So what we'll do is we'll use the flag idea, but in a different way. What we'll say is that I am going to allow you to execute first, similar to what this thread is doing, right? So in the previous case, what we could possibly have done is that I am going to set my flag to 1 and I am going to go ahead, right? So that should not be done, because then both the threads can individually decide and they will go ahead. There won't be any mutual exclusion. Now what I did is that, okay, I am giving you an opportunity to go first. Only when you say that you are done, at that time I am going to go ahead. So this ensures mutual exclusion, but this doesn't guarantee deadlock freedom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that, okay, I'm not going to use 2 flags. I'm going to use 1 victim variable. Victim meaning whose turn it is not. That is the pattern I'm going to use. So I'm going to again give you the priority, which means that I'm going to victimize myself. I'm going to give you the opportunity. And if you say that it is not your turn, then that victim is going to be set to you rather than me, and therefore I will go ahead. So now there is a little difference in the way we are going to do the processing. So there is no flag here, because there were 2 flags, therefore there was this coordination problem. So I'm going to say that I am the victim. That means that I am going to wait for you to finish. So victim equal to me. Victim is a shared variable. This me and TID are local variables. So while victim is equal to me, that means it is not my turn. I'm going to wait. And unlock doesn't require setting anything, because as soon as I'm executing the code, that means that victim is going to be, is this correct? Yeah, maybe I should have victim equal to 1 minus me here. No. Here again, there should be victim equal to me. Yeah, there should be, I think this code is wrong. There should be victim equal to me here set, so that it gives a signal to the other thread. Okay, but let's check that. So let's say that thread 0 comes in, it sets victim equal to 0, and then it checks, it waits for victim equal to not equal to itself. Assuming that thread 1 is executing, or it comes to execution sometime, it is going to set victim equal to itself. As soon as it sets victim equal to itself, because both are executing the same kind of code, thread 0 is going to see that victim is not equal to me, and therefore it will go beyond lock and it will start executing S0. Okay. At the end of it, So while this is happening, the thread 1 is going to wait at victim equals 1. At the end of thread 0's critical section execution, it is going to set victim equal to 0 at this stage. At that time, the other thread is going to go ahead and start executing its code. Right? So this also ensures that there is mutual exclusion. And the other way around, we can also argue that thread 1 comes in first and so on. Right? So do you agree that the mutual exclusion is guaranteed in this case? Anybody sees any issues with this mutual exclusion guarantee? Assuming that victim equal to me is there in unlock. Any suggestions?
Sir, how is this different from the first flag example? Not version 1, the one that we had done before, where you only had a single variable flag.
It's actually, yeah, I think it's actually the same. You're right. This is, so let me see. I'll just go back. We had that flag. This. Yeah, so here, okay. So here we did not have the assignment to flag, which was there in Arihant's code, but we did not have this assignment to flag. But yeah, logically it was exactly the same, where we were waiting for the other thread here, then there was critical section, and then there is unlock. So it is actually the same. It's just that depending on the flag was set outside the code, but otherwise this is same as what we have now. You're right. So here the assignment to victim is happening now rather than as an initialization. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the code is going to be the same. And I should also mention that we have, by using that victim, we have also ensured that the code remains the same for all the threads. They don't have to have different codes for both of the two threads. That was also one of our requirements. Okay. Any other suggestions? Okay. So I hope you agree that mutual exclusion is guaranteed. But what is the problem in this code? Like what we had earlier?
We have to wait for other thread.
Right. So also Akash is saying this still relies on the other thread running, waiting for the other thread to meet his saying. Okay, correct. So this mutual exclusion is guaranteed, may lead to starvation. So when you are waiting, you have work to do, right? You want to execute critical section. There is nobody else who is executing it really. And you are starving for that thread to come in and execute. So it can lead to your starvation. However, if threads are repeatedly taking locks and executing their critical section, then all goes well. So sometimes you might not even realize that there is a possibility of starvation. So that part is also fine. So now we want to kind of ensure that we want to not wait for the other thread if the thread is not there. Right? If it is there, then we would like to wait. Right? So this good nature of giving opportunity to the other using this victim or by checking the flag of the other person, other thread, that seems to be a reasonable idea to do. But waiting indefinitely without that thread even being there, that seems to be a problem. So that's what we would like to solve now. So I'm going to combine these two, flag and victim. So I'm going to have these two flags, right? And then I also have the victim. Right? What I'm going to do as a thread is, again, I have this lock followed by critical section followed by unlock. Flag of TID is false is the unlock phase. So that seems to be reasonable. Flag of me is false, right? Which means flag is somewhere indicating that I'm interested in entering the critical section. Okay, so that is what I'm going to set to true, that I'm interested in entering the critical section and I'm going to victimize myself. Flag of me is an independent operation with respect to the other thread because I'm never going to set other person's flag. I'm going to set only my flag. Also, I'm going to read the other person's flag, which is going to happen here in the while loop, right? But as far as victim is concerned, that's a shared variable, and we'll assume that assignment to it is going to be atomic in nature, which means that victim can have only one value, either 0 or 1, right? Thread 0 or thread 1 at any point in time. So the condition is going to look something like this, that while, so I'm going to combine these two conditions, what I had in version 1 and what I had in version 2. Version 1 said flag of other I'm going to check in the while loop. That is, the other thread is going to be interested in executing critical section. However, I am the victim, right? Sorry, and I am the victim, not however, and I am the victim, then only I should wait. What does this ensure is that if the other thread is executing, then flag of that thread is going to be false by default, right? So this is assumption that this is initialized to false. Because if the other thread is not executing, it is not going to set its flag to true, and therefore flag of other will be false. As soon as it is false, I don't have to check for victim. And whether victim is me or somebody else, I'm going to just execute the code because there are only two threads, right? And therefore it will go into the critical section if the flag of other is false. So this is going to ensure that if I'm interested and nobody else is in the critical section, I'm going to go ahead, right? So there is a progress guarantee happening here. What if the other thread is interested in executing the critical section? At that time, flag of other is going to be set to true. And if that happens, then I need to check for what is the value of the victim. Only if victim is not equal to me, then I'm going to go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to wait. Right? And victim is guaranteed to have one of the two values. And flag of the other is set to true. That means there are exactly two threads executing. And therefore, there is a guarantee that the other thread is going to finish getting blocked. That is, it is going to go beyond the lock. It's going to execute critical section, and then it's going to set this flag to false. And therefore, next time I check, sometime later in future when I check, I'm going to get this condition to false, and therefore I will also allow myself to execute the critical section. Right? Anybody sees any issues with this code? Sanket is asking, is volatile a keyword? Yes, it's a keyword in C language, as well as C, C++, as well as CUDA.
Sir, this has the same limitation as Peterson solution, right? That it's only available for 2 threads.
Yes, that is correct. So what Venkat as well as Rahul have indicated is that this is same as the Peterson's algorithm. So that seems to be correct. So let's see if so mutual exclusion is definitely guaranteed because victim is going to be exactly one value. But okay, one thing which I wanted you to think about while analyzing this code is that do we need to keep this order in this manner, or is there a possibility that we can reorder this, or is the code that I'm showing, does that have any fault because of these two statements? So if I rearrange these, does that cause any trouble? Any suggestions? The reason being that this condition check is not atomic. It's possible that I might check flag of other first and then victim equals me. So nobody seems to see any issue with that. So let's say that victim equal to me happens first and then flag of me equal to true. And the same thing is happening for the other. That is not going to cause any problem because I am still checking flag of other as the first condition. So that is guaranteed to happen. Okay, let me see. So flag of other is possibly going to be, okay, if it is false, then I don't check victim, so it is okay. But if it is true, and victim, okay, maybe in the current code itself we should check. So the other thread has executed flag of me equal to true. So this thread sees flag of other equal to true, but the victim is set to the victim is not set by the other thread. Yeah, I see. Okay, that is yeah, victim will always be either this or the other one. But is it possible that both of them, so flag of other could be true for both the threads, and the victim, is it possible that I might see it at a different time and somebody else might see it at a different time? That is possible. So if victim is set by the other thread, then I'm going to go ahead. Okay. Yeah, so that is not going to happen. Okay. So the case that I was thinking about is that, is it possible that thread 0 sees victim to be thread 1 and thread 1 sees victim to be thread 0? Is it possible to happen? I mean, will there be any interleaving which will lead to that? But that doesn't seem to be happening, and that is why this code will work. Right. So that reordering of these two statements doesn't seem to be causing any issue, but reordering of this condition can cause an issue. So if I say just check victim equals, because there is a ordering, right? There is a short circuiting happening in the while loop. If flag of other is false, then I don't check for the victim condition. Well, that is not going to cause an issue either. So if victim equals me, that is okay. Yeah, if it is true, then I'm also going to, yeah, so I think, but flag of other is, so if victim is myself, which is possibly going to be true, and then flag of other.
Sir, I think within the while loop, if you switch the order of the conditions, there's a possibility for deadlock.
Oh, is it?
Sir,
The deadlock should not happen. Yeah.
Sir, I don't think deadlock
sorry,
will
when-
happen because right now where flag checking of the flag is saying if the other one wants to enter the critical section, and victim is telling if I'm the victim or not. So if any like both, we are having both the conditions just so that even if there is only one thread, it can enter. But if there are two threads, then let's suppose victim has some particular value, then only one of them will be able to enter anyway, right? Because
yeah, I also think that,
it's being set. So either way, deadlock won't happen if there are two threads and whatever order we're checking it in.
I see. Yeah, so I also don't think that the deadlock is going to happen, because victim is always going to contain some value. And assuming that it is volatile, so both the threads are going to see the value which is set by the other at some point in time. So there, I mean, victim is going, it's a shared variable which will have either value of me or the other. So I think deadlock will not happen. But if somebody has an argument against that, please feel free to give. So the deadlock can happen only if this while condition is true for both the threads and therefore they are both looping around, right? So flag of other could be true, that is okay, that part is fine, but victim is going to be true. Okay, so let's think about it this way, that thread 0 sets victim equal to 0 and then gets into this loop, right? And then thread 1 sets victim equal to 1 and then gets into this loop. But so thread 1 could be in the loop, but since it has set victim equal to 1, thread 0 will get a chance to execute further. So that seems to be fine. And flag of other is going to be anyway set to true if there are two threads, and therefore this doesn't seem to create any issue even if we interchange the conditions. So that's what seems to be my reasoning. But if there are any arguments against that, please feel free.
Sir, but mutual exclusion will not be guaranteed, na?
Okay, when we are reordering the conditions.
Yes, sir.
So victim equals me
So like,
and flag equal to flag of other. Is mutual exclusion not getting? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, if thread 1 executes, sir, if thread 1 executes first, it sets victim is equal to me. Then it stops before executing flag me is equal to true. Then if second thread executes, it executes victim is equal to me, and it still has flag of other, means flag of 1 false. So it will not go into while loop and it will go into critical section. Then for thread 1, since other thread has said victim is equal to other, victim is equal to second thread, then here while condition will become false in victim is equal to me, then it will also go into critical section.
But
I am not able to see
the
that.
other
Yeah.
thread is going in, that time flag is not false, it's true. Like it won't go inside.
Yeah, the second thread will see flag of other as true. That is correct. Yeah.
Sir, but it will see victim is equal to other. It will not say victim is equal to me. It will become false. Second condition, not flag 1.
Oh, I see.
Sir, but
Oh,
even
so
in
I
that
see.
case, thread 1 will keep on waiting, right? Because if the other thread came to this point, that means it set flag other equal to 1. So the first thread will be seeing flag other equal to 1 and victim will also be this thread. So first thread will keep on looping here and the other thread will go in.
No, first thread will
Venkat.
first.
Yeah, go ahead, Rigved.
I'm saying first thread will make victim is equal to me, then it will stop. Then other thread will make victim is equal to that thread, and then if this first thread will execute, then its victim will be other thread, not it.
Yeah, so Venkat, we are discussing the case where we have interchanged the conditions now, that victim equals me and flag of other. So if victim equals me is false, then it will not go for checking flag of other, and it can start coming out of the while loop and start executing its critical section.
Okay, so yeah, I was talking about this.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so then the condition, the order in which we check these conditions seems to be important, right? And good point, Rigved, that we might not ensure mutual exclusion if we do not follow this order, right? So that seems to be a critical observation. Okay, any other suggestions here? Oh, I have exceeded the time quite a bit. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that. Okay, let me just finish this. So it does not lead to deadlock given this particular code. And it's also starvation free because we are, if the other thread is not there, then flag of other is going to be false. Yeah, and that victim equals me essentially gives priority to the other thread, which is like pehle aap kind of thing. And as has been observed, this is called as Peterson's law. Right. So we'll study about the further part. Can we extend this to n threads when you have arbitrary number of threads in the next lecture? Sorry about this delay, but yeah. Any questions on this?
Sir, just the if we're swapping the condition, can you give the execution how it's leading to like mutual exclusion problems? And
Yeah, so what Rigved is suggesting is that the first thread is going to set victim equal to me, let's say thread 0, and then the other thread is going to check the is going to set victim equal to itself, and therefore if victim equals me is the first condition, then 0th thread is going to go ahead and start executing, right? And if victim equals 0 happens, so thread 0 is executing. Now thread 1 thread 1 had set victim equal to 1, and so therefore it will check. Oh, I see. It will still wait for victim equals 1. Okay, Rigved, I think I lost your argument. Could you please give that again?
Yes, sir. Sir, first thread will make victim is equal to 0. Then it will stop, and then other thread will run. It will run it since it will go into while loop. Since its flag of other is equal to false, yani flag of 0 is equal to false.
Yeah, that is correct. But the other thread will also set victim equal to 1.
Yes, sir. So other thread will set victim equal to 1, and then it will go into critical section. Now coming back to
Hold
thread
on.
1.
So,
Yeah,
so
sir.
thread 1, if it is going into critical section, that means that it is seeing victim equal to 0.
No, sir. It's not going because the victim is equal to 0. It's going because flag of other is equal to false. Since thread 0 stopped at victim is equal to me and not executed flag of me is equal to true.
Oh, you are saying this is also reordered, is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I see. Okay. I see. Okay, I got what you are saying. Okay, so victim equal to 1 has happened, but flag of 1 equal to true has not happened, and therefore flag of 1 is false for thread 0, and therefore it doesn't check the victim at all. In that case it will cause an issue. Okay, I understand what you are saying now. So Venkat, does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, I was thinking that those two are the same.
Sure. Okay,
Actually,
so if
sir,
we interchange both of these statements here before the while loop and the conditions here, then there is a possibility of mutual exclusion not guaranteed.
actually, sir, I was thinking of like interchanging flag and victim. I didn't thought of changing while.
So even that will create a problem, is it?
No, sir. I think I misunderstand. I exchanged flag and victim, not inside while, but above statement.
I see. Okay, so that gives us a good exercise to check if so definitely whatever is given in the slide that seems to be working, it ensures mutual exclusion. But if we reorder these two, then does that ensure mutual exclusion? That is not guaranteed. So that's a good discussion. Thanks for that. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll stop here. Enjoy your assignment submission.